With just a few days until Christmas, the 12-foot pine tree in my parents' mansion glittered with Swarovski ornaments, casting a beautiful glow over the snowy landscape of Maple Avenue. The dining table, set with Wedgwood china, already held the Christmas dinner menu. I'm Jennifer Miller, a real estate agent in Greenwich, living with my husband Michael and our 6-year-old son Tommy in a new residential area about 15 minutes from this affluent neighborhood. Michael earns around $70,000 as a middle manager at an IT company. While we're not wealthy, we've built a happy home together. Tommy, who attends North Street School, our local public elementary, is a bright and honest child, popular with his classmates. Influenced by my mother, who was a high school teacher, I'm passionate about education. Helping Tommy with homework and reading together has become my cherished daily routine. Every Sunday, our family attends dinner at my parents' home, Robert and Margaret's. My sister Elizabeth is married to a cardiac surgeon, my sister Catherine is a lawyer, and my youngest brother William is a university professor, all marriages my parents proudly consider suitable. My parents' white Victorian mansion, built in the 1920s, stands as a symbol of Greenwich's history and tradition. My father, a retired investment banker, and my mother, influential in Greenwich's social circles, maintain a facade of charitable work and are pillars of the First Presbyterian Church. We siblings share the responsibility of caring for our aging parents. Elizabeth manages priority appointments at Greenwich Hospital. I handle contracts and maintenance with Heritage Home Maintenance. Catherine provides legal counsel for wills and inheritance, and William manages the investment portfolio. But lately, Tommy has been reluctant to visit his grandparents. "Mom, do I have to go to Grandma's house?" Tommy's words tugged at my heart. While my parents eagerly encourage expensive lessons and give lavish birthday presents to their other grandchildren, they maintain a cold attitude toward Tommy. At Greenwich Women's Club luncheons, Mother talks endlessly about her other grandchildren, rarely mentioning Tommy. Our brick house may be modest compared to my parents' mansion, but this modern colonial home that Michael and I chose together is filled with the warmth of family life. Weekends spent playing catch with Tommy in the nearby park or enjoying backyard barbecues. Can't my parents understand the joy in these simple pleasures? "It's okay, Tommy. Mom and Dad are here for you." Hugging my son, I steeled my resolve. This Christmas, I would protect him, no matter what. Standing on our balcony, looking down at the horse chestnut trees and rose garden, I sighed deeply, feeling uneasy about the upcoming family gathering. On Christmas afternoon, when we arrived at my parents' house, Elizabeth's luxury SUV was already parked in the driveway. Tommy, stepping out of our car and fidgeting with the collar of his new red sweater, squeezed my hand tightly. "I don't want to go." "It's all right, Tommy. I'm sure Santa has brought you something wonderful." Michael gently pushed our son's shoulder as he spoke, though I could hear the tension in my husband's voice. Opening the heavy front door, we were enveloped by warm air and the aromas of roast turkey, cinnamon, and pumpkin pie. The 24-pound butterball turkey was already browning nicely in the oven. "Jenny, you've finally arrived." Mother appeared in the foyer, wearing a white cashmere sweater and gleaming pearl necklace. She barely glanced at Tommy, giving only my cheek a light kiss. You're late. Elizabeth's children are already here. From the living room came the excited voices of my nieces and nephews. Under the 12-foot Christmas tree lay a mountain of presents decorated with colorful ribbons. Elizabeth's twins were playing with the latest gaming console, while Catherine's daughter was studying programming on her new tablet. "Merry Christmas, Patricia," Father called out, scotch in hand. Here, I was always called by my maiden name, Patricia. He still refused to acknowledge my married name, Miller. "Tommy, come here." Elizabeth beckoned. My sister treated Tommy as kindly as the other children, but today there was an apologetic shadow in her eyes. That sweater, did you buy it at Target?" Mother looked Tommy up and down with a sarcastic tone. Yes, it was a $25 sweater from Target. But Tommy had been so pleased with this red sweater. As dinner time approached, the house filled with energy. William provided intellectual conversation befitting a young professor, Catherine shared interesting stories from her law firm, and Elizabeth's husband explained the latest medical technologies. My parents listened with satisfied expressions. However, when Michael began talking about his work, Father merely grunted, and deliberately changed the subject. When Tommy tried to share stories from school, Mother interrupted with, "Let's save the children's stories for later." The lavish dinner table was centered around the roast turkey, accompanied by homemade cranberry sauce, green bean casserole, sweet potato casserole, and Whole Foods special pumpkin pie. The dishes arranged on Wedgwood china looked like pages torn from a magazine. "Let us say grace." As Father began the prayer, everyone closed their eyes and clasped their hands. "Lord, we thank you for this bountiful meal, our successful children, and our wonderful grandchildren." Even in the prayer's words lurked invisible discrimination. After dinner came the time for exchanging presents. The whole family gathered around the fireplace. First, Elizabeth's children. Mother handed over large boxes containing the latest gaming consoles and designer clothes. Catherine's children received educational tablets, and William's child got premium sports equipment and a programming learning set. The children's excited voices filled the room. Finally, it was Tommy's turn. "Here, Tommy. Your turn." Mother held out a small box. Tommy, eyes shining with expectation, carefully unwrapped the paper. I watched, holding my breath. When he opened the box, it was empty. "He doesn't need anything." Mother smiled maliciously. The room's atmosphere froze. Large tears began rolling down Tommy's cheeks. I glared at Mother for a moment but said nothing. No words were necessary. I silently stood up, embraced my sobbing Tommy, and left the room. Michael wordlessly followed. Behind us fell a heavy silence, and I heard Elizabeth's small sigh. As we headed toward the entrance, I caught sight of the family photographs on the wall. They showed a seemingly happy family, but now it felt like a lie. Outside, snow continued falling quietly. The Christmas decorations on the houses gleamed somewhat emptily. In the car's rearview mirror, I watched my parents' mansion grow smaller. In the back seat, Tommy wiped his tears with the sleeve of his new red sweater. Hey, Tommy. Michael spoke gently while driving. Daddy and Mommy love you very much. That will never change, no matter what Grandpa and Grandma think. The next morning, before dawn, my smartphone began buzzing incessantly. The family group chat was overflowing with words of anger and sadness. What happened last night is absolutely unacceptable. Elizabeth's words appeared on the screen. Our parents' actions constitute clear emotional abuse. As a lawyer, I cannot overlook this. Catherine's professional opinion. I would never treat even my students this way. Even William, usually calm, sent an uncharacteristically emotional message. Then, responses from our parents. Patricia's choices led to these results. This is what happens when you marry someone with such limited education. As I stared at the screen, Tommy slept exhaustedly beside me. He had woken several times from nightmares last night, eventually ending up sleeping in our bedroom. The siblings gathered at Catherine's law office. From the high-rise windows in Manhattan, Greenwich's cityscape appeared hazily in the distance. Let me first explain from a legal perspective. Catherine began, opening her laptop. Discriminatory treatment of grandchildren by grandparents can, in some cases, be subject to legal action. But that's a last resort. Elizabeth maintained a doctor's calm expression. What we need now is effective sanctions against our parents. William stood at the whiteboard, listing out their current support system. I've calculated the impact on our parents' lifestyle if we stop all Sunday dinners, medical transportation, and home maintenance management. William showed his spreadsheet. Our support is what has allowed them to maintain their luxurious lifestyle. Elizabeth sighed. I wonder if they even know we've been paying their Greenwich Country Club dues. We've been the ones really supporting the church charity events too. Catherine added. That afternoon, we put our concrete action plan into motion. First, Elizabeth contacted our parents' primary physician. I'm sorry, but we'll have to discontinue transportation support. Next, Catherine called the home maintenance company. We won't be renewing the regular maintenance contract. William instructed the investment advisor. Please remove my name from my parents' account management. The social media impact spread surprisingly quickly. In the Greenwich Women's Club private group, the Christmas party incident became the central topic. Longtime friends began cutting ties with Mother one after another. Changes were also evident in the church community, with our parents quietly being removed from charity event committees. Robert and Margaret seemed to have lost their way. The whispers of the church ladies spread quietly. Changes began appearing in the mansion itself. The roses went untended. Roof leaks were left unrepaired, and when the heating system malfunctioned, there were no contractors to call. Tax preparations started falling behind. Had our parents never realized that we had been handling all these practical matters for years? How's Tommy? Elizabeth asked worriedly. He's slowly regaining his spirit. I answered. Michael practices baseball with him every evening. The love around him seems to be healing him. My children want to play with Tommy too. Catherine said. Why don't we have a hot chocolate party at my house this weekend? The cousins enjoyed playing with Tommy purely, unaffected by the complex adult situation. The kindness of his cousins gradually helped heal Tommy's emotional wounds. On a snowy evening, I gazed out my window at the street. It had been days since we'd received any calls from my parents. Sometimes I wondered if this was the right choice. But every time I saw Tommy's smile, I was convinced our decision wasn't wrong. And shortly after the new year began, unexpected visitors appeared at our door. When I opened it, there stood my parents, looking unfamiliar. Mother's usually perfectly styled hair was disheveled, and father wore a worn cashmere sweater instead of his typical luxury suit. They both seemed to have aged rapidly in these 2 weeks. "Patricia, would you hear us out?" Mother's voice had lost its usual arrogance. I showed them into the living room, where Michael silently brought coffee. Tommy was playing in his room upstairs. The scent of breakfast toast still lingered in the house. Father spoke first. "The truth is, we're struggling to manage." From there, their predicament became clear. Their Greenwich hospital appointments were cancelled, preventing Father's regular checkups. Heritage home maintenance contract wasn't renewed, leaving house problems unattended. Tax preparations stalled, with late payment notices piling up. "But your pension." Mother broke down crying, interrupting my words. "It's not enough. We've been living beyond our means, keeping up appearances." Father pulled a bill from his wallet, a payment reminder from Greenwich Country Club. "Our friends have abandoned us, we've lost our place at church." Mother's makeup began to run. "Did you know?" Father quietly asked. "That we couldn't survive without your support?" "Yes, we knew," I answered. "But why Tommy?" At that moment, Mother's expression changed. It was a complex look mixing pride and regret. "I'll be honest." Mother began speaking, clutching her handkerchief with trembling hands. "I couldn't accept your marriage. A daughter of a prominent Greenwich family, marrying a mere IT manager. But Michael is a wonderful husband and father." I replied quietly but firmly. "Yes." Mother gazed out the window as she continued. "But I had my pride. My position in society, my reputation at church, the eyes of my friends." "So Tommy." "Yes. That child was proof of the marriage that betrayed our expectations. Every week at family dinner, seeing him." Father interrupted. "No, Margaret. That's wrong." Mother turned in surprise at Father's unexpected words. "We were wrong. Our vanity and pride blinded us to what truly matters." Father's voice trembled. "We maintained our luxury lifestyle thanks to your support. And we repaid that kindness with cruelty." Mother remained silent, gripping her handkerchief tightly. "We apologize." Father bowed his head deeply. "To Tommy, and to your family." However, Mother's attitude remained somewhat different. "But our social standing." At that moment, we heard a small sound from upstairs. Tommy was sitting halfway up the stairs. How much of the conversation had he heard? "Grandma, why don't you like me?" Tommy's innocent question froze the atmosphere in the room. Mother stared at Tommy, speechless. For the first time, true regret appeared in her eyes. I don't deserve forgiveness." The mask Mother had worn for years seemed to fall away. "But if you'll allow me." Mother's voice broke. "Could we start over? As a real family?" I silently watched Tommy. Should we burden a 6-year-old heart with such weight? But in my son's eyes, I saw something that adults couldn't see. "Don't cry, Grandma." Tommy came down the stairs and approached Mother. "I have my red sweater. I'll let you borrow it." At those pure words, Mother's pride completely crumbled. Heedless of her running makeup, she began sobbing openly. Father silently stood and walked to the window. Outside, the New Year's snow continued falling quietly. "Would you give us a chance?" Father's voice quivered slightly. I exchanged glances with Michael, who gave a small nod. "But there are conditions." I faced my parents. "You must truly accept Tommy and our way of life. Not for appearances or social standing, but from your hearts." My parents nodded silently. Change wouldn't come overnight. But from this day, a new chapter in our family's story was beginning. 3 months have passed. My parents' house on Maple Avenue no longer maintains its former luxury. Their Greenwich Country Club membership has lapsed, and Mother's cherished Wedgwood china set has been put up for sale. Weekly housekeeping services have been cancelled, and they now tend to the rose garden themselves. What is true happiness, really? Mother sighed while pulling weeds in the garden, wearing work gloves from the hardware store instead of her luxury leather ones. Father has set aside his pride as a retired investment banker and started volunteering as a bookkeeper at the local senior center. Though unpaid, his face shows more peace than before. Money and status weren't everything after all. Father murmured while playing catch with Tommy on weekends. Those words seemed to carry genuine regret and realization. Change came gradually but surely. My parents now attend new family dinners at our house every Saturday. Though the meals aren't as luxurious as before, our homemade lasagna somehow feels warmer. "Look, Grandma. I drew this." When Tommy shows Mother his family drawing from school, small tears glisten in her eyes. "It's beautiful, Tommy. May I hang it in my room?" Those words carry none of their former arrogance. Elizabeth has resumed helping with medical appointments, Catherine has restarted legal consultations, and William assists with their now modest household finances. However, this time we who provide support have clear conditions. Love should be unconditional. Catherine declared at our siblings' meeting. But support needs conditions. A new support system was established to sustain our parents' retirement, this time with mutual responsibilities and promises documented in a notarized agreement. Of course, not everything has been smooth. Sometimes, Mother's old habits surface. When invited by former social circle friends, she's tempted to keep up appearances. But Father quietly reminds her. Margaret, remember what truly matters. At First Presbyterian Church, our parents have moved from their front row seats to sit in back as ordinary parishioners, seeking genuine prayer rather than superficial faith. We had strayed from God's teachings. Elizabeth witnessed father confessing to the pastor. After leaving the Greenwich Women's Club, mother joined a local book club instead. There, titles and appearances don't matter. Just people sharing their love of books. I never knew such warm connections existed. Mother admits honestly. Changes appeared in their house too. Luxurious decorations have disappeared, replaced by Tommy's drawings and family photos. The Christmas tree changed from a 12-foot giant to a cozy 6-foot one. But the time spent decorating it together has become priceless. Maybe this is what true luxury means. One day, mother mused. Financial worries about retirement haven't completely disappeared. But for the first time, our parents are facing reality and choosing to live an honest, modest life. Now I realize how much we lost through our pride and vanity. Father's words mix deep regret with new hope. And the biggest change has been in their relationship with Tommy. Grandpa, thank you for coming to watch my baseball. When Tommy waves to father in the stands during his Little League game. Grandma, thank you for helping me with math. When he hugs mother after she helps with his homework. A child's pure heart had begun weaving new bonds, forgiving the adult's mistakes. A child's unconditional love was the greatest gift of all. Mother quietly wept while reflecting on the incident with the empty Christmas box. Our family is beginning to discover genuine happiness that money and status could never buy. It's not flashy or grand, but it's a warm, lasting happiness that reaches deep into our hearts. There will surely be more challenges ahead. Elizabeth says. But now we understand. We know how precious true family bonds really are. Outside the window, spring sunlight streams down. New buds are beginning to sprout on the horse chestnut trees lining Maple Avenue. In the dappled sunlight, I can see Tommy helping his grandparents tend to the garden. The box that was once empty is now filled with precious memories and lessons learned.